Tonight, we dive into one of the most intense battles in TV history, the Long Night, the epic showdown at Winterfell where heroes face the army of the dead. Get ready for fire, ice, and the ultimate fight for survival. At Winterfell, the armies of the living prepared for the greatest battle in history, the fight against the army of the dead. Armed with dragonglass and Valyrian steel, every soldier stood in position, waiting for the Night King to arrive. On the left side stood Jaime Lannister, Brienne of Tarth, Podrick Payne, and the soldiers of the Vale. On the right were Samwell Tarly, Ed Tollett, Gendry, Sandor the Hound Clegane, Beric Dondarrion, and Tormund Giantsbane, leading the Northmen, the Free Folk, and what was left of the Night's Watch. At the center, Grey Worm and his unsullied army stood firm, while Ser Jorah Mormont led the Dothraki on the front lines, with Jon Snow's direwolf, Ghost, running beside them. Inside Winterfell, Sansa, Arya, and Ser Davos watched from the walls. Lady Lyanna Mormont and her men guarded the courtyard. In the Godswood, Bran Stark waited for the Night King, protected by Theon Greyjoy and his Ironborn warriors. And deep in the crypts, Tyrion, Varys, Missandei stayed with the women and children, hoping to be safe underground. Above them, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen rode their dragons, Rhaegal and Drogon, watching over the army with fear and determination. Suddenly, through the cold night, the Red Priestess Melisandre appeared. She rode forward and spoke ancient words, lighting the Dothraki swords with fire. Thousands of flaming blades lit up the darkness, a moment of hope. But that hope quickly turned to horror. Jorah, Ghost, and the Dothraki charged into the Black Night, and in moments their flames went out. Silence fell. Only a few riders returned alive. The rest were gone. Then from the darkness came the sound of death. The army of the dead had arrived. They crashed into the living with unstoppable force, ripping through soldiers and breaking the lines. Ed Tollett, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, died saving Sam's life. The living were losing fast, but suddenly, from above, Jon and Daenerys swooped down on their dragons, burning waves of undead with dragonfire. For a short time, it seemed they could win. But the Night King created a fierce snowstorm, blinding both dragons. Rhaegal and Drogon collided, nearly throwing their riders off. Down below, chaos took over. Grey Worm and the Unsullied held the center while the others ran for safety inside the castle walls. They sacrificed themselves to protect the retreat. Melisandre then cast another spell, lighting the trenches with fire, creating a ring of flames around Winterfell. It gave them a brief moment of rest, until the Night King ordered his wights to throw themselves into the flames, creating bridges of burning corpses. Soon, the dead were climbing over the walls. An undead giant smashed through the main gate. Lady Lyanna Mormont bravely charged at him. The giant grabbed her and crushed her body, but before dying, she stabbed him in the eye with a dragonglass dagger, killing him. Arya fought fiercely on the walls, but was soon overwhelmed. She ran inside and hid quietly through the halls, avoiding the dead. When she was cornered, Beric Dondarrion sacrificed himself to save her, dying alongside the Hound. In a quiet room, Arya met Melisandre again, the same priestess who once told her a prophecy. "I see a darkness in you. Brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, eyes you'll shut forever." Arya finally understood what those words meant. In the sky, the Night King rode Viserion, his undead dragon, attacking Winterfell with blue fire. Jon and Rhaegal flew up to meet him, and the dragons fought in a violent clash of fire and ice. Finally, the Night King fell from the sky. Rhaegal crashed hard, throwing Jon off and leaving the dragon badly hurt. Daenerys saw her chance. She ordered Drogon to burn the Night King, but the flames had no effect. The Night King only smiled. Jon ran toward him to fight, but the Night King raised his hands, and all the dead rose again, surrounding Jon and cutting off his path. Everywhere in Winterfell, the living were dying. Drogon was covered in undead, forcing Daenerys to fall to the ground. Jorah Mormont rushed to her side, fighting off waves of enemies until he collapsed and died in her arms. In the crypts, even the dead rose from their tombs, killing those hiding below. Above, Jon tried to reach Bran in the Godswood, but Viserion's blue fire blocked his way. The Night King entered the Godswood, walking slowly toward Bran. Theon Greyjoy was the last Ironborn standing. Bran told him, "You're a good man, thank you." Theon charged forward in a final act of bravery, and the Night King killed him instantly. The Night King stood before Bran and reached for his sword. But from behind, Arya Stark came running, silent and fast. She leaped toward him with a Valyrian steel dagger. The Night King caught her by the neck, but Arya dropped the dagger into her other hand and stabbed him in the heart. The Night King shattered into ice, the White Walkers exploded into pieces, and the undead army fell to the ground. The Battle of Winterfell was over. Many heroes died that night. The Dothraki and Unsullied armies were nearly wiped out. As dawn broke, the Red Priestess Melisandre walked out into the snow, removed her magic necklace, and aged instantly. With her purpose fulfilled, she collapsed and turned to dust. Winterfell stood, barely, but the living had won. If you enjoyed this recap of the Battle of Winterfell, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more epic Game of Thrones moments. Stay tuned. More legendary battles and shocking scenes are coming your way, only here on MovieCap.